What's good, everybody? We're back again with another video. Today we will be discussing the breakout players for the next year's NBA season. It's a lot of players that I couldn't name, but I only want to break it down to like 6 names. I didn't want to make the video super long, and plus everybody has like some similar answers. Like, of course, a lot of people think Anthony Edwards is going to break out next season. A lot of people saying Jaren Jackson, Mikal Bridges. I didn't want to name those names because literally everybody's going to tell you those names, and I do got some names that some people might agree with also, but this video is just to break down some names that you probably won't hear a lot, and just shed some light to some talent that we have in the league, because we have a lot of talent, a lot. So let's get into it. So to start off, I want to talk about Malik Monk. Now, I don't know what it is, but like over this last week, I just have been watching a lot of Malik Monk's game, and I've just been thinking about how it is for the future of the Kings, because I do felt like they needed something else in that Warriors series. Like, they needed an extra guy that can help out De'Aaron Fox, because sometimes he was just carrying. And Malik Monk showed up in those moments, because you see Kevin Huerter, he just doesn't have a lot when it comes to on-ball creation, but Malik Monk has a lot. So I was thinking about Malik Monk watching this game, and it just hit me that I think he has another level he can reach. As we've seen over the last couple of years, that he just continues to grow and grow. Like, he played with the Hornets, and on his way out with the Hornets, it wasn't that good, and I think it's because that organization wasn't that good. And then he came to the Lakers, and we gave him like a real opportunity, and he showed some flashes. But this year, he went to a team that fit him. They shoot the ball a lot. They are very fast-paced, and it allowed him to play with the ball a lot more than he ever had in his career, because he was the 6th man on the team, and he showed a lot of growth in that. And I think he's going to be able to build on that next season. I think one of the best parts about his game that doesn't get talked about is his playmaking and passing, and I think Sabonis kind of unlocked that, because he was kind of forced to play with Sabonis on the bench unit, and they ran the pick and roll a lot, and he became very good as a pick and roll passer. But as far as scoring, I think he can jump up to another level. Now, I still want him to come off the bench, because I do love Kevin Huerter starting with the team, but I do think Malik Monk has another level that he can reach, that he can maybe, just maybe, be in the most improved player race. And I definitely think he's going to be in the 6th man of the year race, but I think he has another level in his game where he can reach. Like, I'm not saying no all-star level, none of that. I don't want to put that much on him, but like kind of how we look at like Tyler Hero and Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Simons, Jordan Poole, those guys. I think he can reach that level. I don't think he was far from that level in the first place, but I think he can jump up and reach that level. So for the first player, I just want to shed some light on Malik Monk. Now, this next player is Karis Levert. Now, this is one of the ones that I was pretty sure you're going to be surprised that I'm talking about. Karis Levert. He started off last year kind of slow. He did have that 150-point game that was really fun to watch. Or was it 40? I think it was 40-point game that was very fun to watch. But he started off kind of slow, and I believe that was because we was kind of playing him at the 3, and he's not a 3, he's a 2. So we played him at the 3, but it was fun to see that he became a player that kind of affected the game beyond the stat sheet, because that just never been him in his first 2 stops in Indiana and Brooklyn. So seeing him kind of do that and change his game to fit the team and fit the starting lineup, I like that. But when Darius came back, and Darius wasn't missing no games after that eye injury, he became the full-time 6th man. And then when it came to March, that's when he just started to take off, averaging 14 points, 4 assists, shooting 51% from the field and 48% from the 3. He just ended off the season perfectly, and I think next year, barring injury, he's going to be a full-time 6th man, and I think we can probably see what we've seen in that second half of the season, because he's going to be given a role, and I don't think he's gotten that yet. Since he's been in the Cavaliers jersey, the first time we just wanted him to score a lot, because we didn't have nothing. It was just Darius and nothing else. And then last year, like I said, he started off scoring, then he started off being a defender, but then he ended up being a real 6th man where he can kind of control the bench, and he's going to be given that opportunity to do that this year. So I'm excited to see that going into next season, and I do think he can possibly be not in the most improved player race, but I do think he can break out and be a 6th man of the year candidate. Now, you're probably surprised with this one, but if you know me, you shouldn't really be surprised, man. I am a Ben Simmons stan, and yeah, I'm back on the train. I don't care when nobody says I'm back on the train. What people don't want to tell you is Ben Simmons got a surgery in May 2022, and that surgery takes 18 months to recover. So he still played when he really shouldn't probably play last season with that surgery he just had, and that's why he didn't look so bad. And I do think he did have a confidence issue, but now the 18 months is supposed to be up, in the start of the season. So I'm expecting him to be back, man. I'm seeing these clips. I'm seeing these workout clips. He's not shooting threes, so I'm definitely falling for it because he's not shooting threes. And I think his confidence is going to be back now that he is fully healthy. And this is not just me betting on stuff. Like, he showed flashes last season. It was just the lows were just so low where he was just under the rim and he didn't want to shoot it. But he showed a lot of flashes that the old Ben was still there, still super fast, still super big, still was playmaking at a good level. I think his defense was pretty underrated last year. And I think if we get the old Ben Simmons back, I don't want to say we because I'm not a Nets fan. So if they get the old Ben Simmons back, this Nets team can be on to something. And I think he has all the capabilities to come back to being the old Ben Simmons. So yeah, I'm bought in on Ben Simmons, and you should too. Now, this is my guy right here. This is my most improved player pick for next year, Devin Booker. I am very excited for this upcoming season for Devin Booker. I think he's one of the most underrated scorers we have in this league. And I understand it's the Spurs. Not a lot of people watch the Spurs. I get it. But this guy has a lot of game. And I think with the addition of Victor Wembanyama and a lot of stuff being focused on him, being focused on Keldon Johnson, I think it's going to open the floor up for him a lot. And I think he's just going to be able to cook next season. I'm telling you, he's going to be a 20-point scorer. That doesn't really mean much in this game, but like, he's going to be a really good scorer next year, and I think he's going to take a leap to be a most improved player. I do think he's their second best player. I would say he's first now. I think he's better than Victor now, but I think Victor will take it pretty soon. But I do think he is their second best player for their future. Like, a lot of people had Keldon Johnson winning most improved player for the Spurs last year, and I was like, nah, Devin Booker was better. I always thought Devin Booker was better. He just got game, bro. In the mid-range, he's tough. He's tough. He's one of the best mid-range scorers, one of the most underrated scorers in the league. I think he's going to take a leap this season, man. And it sucks that I'm watching him because I told my Cavaliers we should have drafted him, even though it would have been a reach at 5. I don't care. Sometimes you just, if you know what your guy is, you should know. He would have been perfect for us, but Devin Booker is tough. And I'm excited for him next year. I'm very excited. So right here, we got Devin Booker. So my number 2 for most improved player is Alperen Sengun, and I think this offseason is going to benefit him a lot. Starting off with Ime Udoka, I think he's going to set a legit offense, not just go out there and let the guys who. He's going to set a legit offense. He brought all of his guys that he coached with in the 2022 season that made him, I don't think he won Coach of the Year actually, but they were one of the best teams in the league, and he brought all of his guys over there to the Rockets, and they just coming off of having Steven Silas. No offense to him, he just didn't know what to do with the team, and I think Ime is just a different personality, and he's going to help out this team perfectly. Also, I think the addition of Fred VanVleet doesn't get talked about enough. A lot of people just think Fred VanVleet's a shot chucker, and I get it. That's what he did sometime in the Raptors. But like I said, all the time, he had to do that. They didn't have a lot of shot creation over there other than Siakam, so he had to shot chuck. But what we know Fred is, he's a off-ball guy. And I think being with Fred VanVleet is going to help him out. He's going to be able to make for Fred VanVleet because, like I said, Fred VanVleet is one of the best off-ball guards in the game. And I think they're going to have a very effective pick and roll. And I think he's going to be a big addition for Alperen Sengun. And then just Jalen Green. I think we obviously just seen Jokic and Jamal Murray set a blueprint for what Sengun and Jalen Green should do for their future and how they should look together. And I think that's going to be a big addition to his game, actually having a real coach. So for my number 2, we obviously have Alperen Sengun, man. I think he's going to have a huge year. Now for the last player we're going to talk about is, I think he's the most underrated player we have in this league, and I think he's going to have a huge season, and that's Franz Wagner. I think Franz Wagner, however you say his last name, I think he had a very impactful year last year, and I think it was very overshadowed by Paolo, but I do think he was the best player, most consistent player throughout the year, and I just love his game, bro. I know Paolo has the higher ceiling, I get it, but I think Franz is right there with him. He doesn't have no holes in his game. I do think the only real hole you can say is aggressiveness on offense, but he still gives you 18 points a game. I think he's a very effective scorer, and he scores exactly when you need him to score. But my thing is, I love his playmaking, and this is why in the draft process I wanted him to go to the Sacramento Kings so bad, because he's just a great basketball player. Like, he plays the game the right way. And I think he's going to have a very big year scoring wise, because I think they're going to need it. And he just showed a lot of flashes, especially ending the season. And I think him and Paolo about to start that run, man. I think they're about to carry them to the playoffs. I think they have a huge chance of making the playoffs. And I think Paolo being in Team USA and Franz being in Germany team, I think that's going to help them, give them a lot of confidence, because I think both of those respective teams are going to do good in FIBA basketball, and those two are going to be arguably the best player. Oh no, not Paolo, but Franz is arguably going to be the best player, and I am very excited to see what Franz does next shot. I'm a huge fan of Franz. I really do think he is the most underrated player in the league. I don't think a lot of people understand how good he is just because he plays next to Paolo and Paolo gets all the eyes. No, Franz is right there. Franz's potential is high. It's high. So shout out to Franz. So yeah, that's it for the video, man. Like I said, I could have named a lot more people, but I didn't want to copy what other people, because I know a lot of people gonna have the same stuff. But shout out to the guys that I named. I think they're all gonna have big season. Like I said, the one I'm probably most interested in is Malik Monk. I think he has a lot more in his game that he can tap into, and I think he might be able to do that. I think it's just the vibe. This is a weird thing to explain basketball, but the vibe with him and De'Aaron, it's just like when he gets next to De'Aaron, they just take off, and it's like super hard to guard. You've seen it in the playoffs. They had one game they combined for 60, one game they combined for 54, like, and then you had the one game they both had 40. They just, I think soon first of all, I think he's obviously a better player than Kevin Huerter. It's just a better fit, but I think he's going to be so good to where Mike Brown be like, okay, you might be the better fit, but like, we got to start this. I think he can leap that little, oh, he's just a six-man thing. I think he can leap that, bro. I think he can be a 20-point scorer in this league, and I think he can be that missing piece that I feel like they missed last year, because I felt like at times they were just trying to hopefully find Kevin Huerter to just hit a couple threes in that playoff, and when they should have probably just had Malik in, because Malik was very good. So that's the one I'm most intrigued with. But like I said, most improved player, Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell is a bucket. He's tough. It's tough. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to him. Shout out to everybody I talked about in this video. Let me know how you feel about the video. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.